Sometimes, Roblox players run into strange people while playing. Most of the time, it's nothing serious, just random usernames, unusual avatars, or players acting weird for attention. But every now and then, something happens that doesn't feel like a joke, something that feels intentional. This is one of those stories. One evening, a player logged into Roblox, like he usually did, without expecting anything unusual. He joined a popular game, one he had played many times before. The server was active, full of players running around, chatting, and interacting normally. Everything felt completely ordinary. A few minutes after joining, the player noticed someone standing far across the map. At first, it didn't seem important. The avatar wasn't moving, wasn't interacting with anything, just standing still. Players go AFK all the time, so he ignored it and continued playing. But something about the way the avatar stood there felt slightly off. It wasn't just idle, it felt deliberate. After a while, the player moved to a different part of the map. It was a completely separate area, far from where he had been before. As he continued playing, he casually turned his camera and froze. The same avatar was there again, not walking toward him, not arriving late, just already there, standing still, as if it had always been there. This time, the player paid closer attention. The avatar had a very simple appearance. No accessories, no detailed outfit, and most noticeably, no face. It was just a blank Roblox character model, completely expressionless. He opened the player list and looked through the usernames until he found it. The name was simple: Watcher. At first, the player assumed it was just a coincidence. Maybe the map was smaller than he thought, or maybe the other player was following him manually. To test this, he used the teleport feature in the game and instantly moved to a location far across the map. For a few seconds, everything seemed normal. Then, he slowly turned his camera. The avatar was already there. The player paused, trying to think of a logical explanation. There was no way someone could have reached that location that quickly without moving. He opened the player list again. Watcher was still there. But something felt strange. There was no avatar icon next to the name, just an empty space where it should have been. He typed into the chat, asking, "Why are you following me?" The message appeared, but there was no response. The avatar didn't react, didn't move, didn't even turn. It just stood there, facing in his direction. After a few seconds of silence, the player decided it wasn't worth dealing with and left the game. Back in the main menu, everything felt normal again. The player waited a moment, then joined a completely different game. It was a different genre, a different map, and a different group of players. When the game loaded, nothing seemed unusual. Players were moving normally, and the environment felt alive. Then he saw it again. Across the map, standing in the distance, was the same avatar, completely still. The player immediately opened the player list. The name Watcher was there again, exactly the same as before. This time, the player felt a clear sense of discomfort. There was no reason for the same person to appear in a completely different game. He typed again, asking, "How are you here?" Once again, there was no response. The avatar didn't move. The player turned his camera away for a moment, trying to ignore it. But when he looked back, the avatar was closer than before. Not by much, but enough to be noticeable. The player stepped backward. The avatar didn't move while he was looking at it. He turned and ran across the map, putting as much distance between them as possible. After a few seconds, he stopped and quickly turned around. The avatar was gone, completely gone. The player felt a brief moment of relief. Then, he turned forward again and stopped instantly. The avatar was standing directly in front of him, blocking his path, completely still. No movement, no animation, just suddenly there. Without thinking, the player immediately left the game again. This time, he didn't hesitate. Back in the main menu, he waited longer before joining another game. He chose a smaller, less popular one, hoping the situation wouldn't repeat. The new game loaded. The map was quiet, almost empty. There were only a few players in the server, and none of them were nearby. The player opened the player list. Watcher was not there. For the first time, things felt normal again. He started walking around, exploring the map. After a minute or two, he began to relax. Maybe it had just been a coincidence. Maybe someone had followed him once, and everything else was just his imagination. Then, the player list updated. A new username appeared. Watcher. The player didn't move. Slowly, he turned his camera toward the far edge of the map. The avatar was already there, standing still, watching him. The player quickly opened the menu, preparing to leave again, but something made him stop. The avatar moved. For the first time since he had seen it, it took a single step forward. Then it stopped. A few seconds passed. Then another step. Then it stopped again. The movement wasn't normal. It looked unnatural, almost like the game wasn't supposed to allow it to move at all. The player backed away slowly, but the avatar continued moving forward in the same unnatural pattern. Step, stop, step, stop. Each time getting closer. The player turned and ran as fast as he could. This time, he didn't look back immediately. He just kept running, trying to create distance. After a few seconds, he stopped and slowly turned his camera. The avatar was gone again, completely gone. The map looked empty, silent. The player stood still, trying to calm down. Then he noticed something. The player list had changed again. The name Watcher was gone. For a brief moment, the player felt relief. Then, a message appeared in the chat. It wasn't from anyone in the server. "I can follow you anywhere." The player's heart started racing. He immediately left the game again. This time, he didn't join another one right away. He waited. A full minute passed before he finally clicked into another random game. The game loaded. For a few seconds, nothing happened. No strange players, no unusual behavior. The player opened the player list. Everything looked normal. Then he noticed something strange. One of the usernames didn't have an avatar icon. It was just blank. As he stared at it, the name slowly began to update, letter by letter. Watcher. The player didn't move. Slowly, he turned his camera. Standing directly behind him was the avatar, closer than ever before, completely still. A message appeared. "I told you." The screen froze. The game didn't crash. It simply stopped responding. The avatar didn't move. It didn't animate. It just stood there, right behind him, as if it had always been there. Suddenly, the player was disconnected and returned to the Roblox home screen. There was no error message, no warning, just silence. He sat there for a moment, then opened his friends list. At the very bottom, there was a new pending friend request from Watcher. The next day, the request was gone, but when he opened his profile, there was one new follower, a blank account with no avatar, no description, and only one name, Watcher.